All right, we're going to start, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And may peace of God be unto all of us. Peace, namaste. Good morning, good evening for those who are outside of the United States. And welcome to our weekly program with me, Imam Shamsi Ali, here in New York City. And today we are so honored, so happy, certainly joyful to be joined by a great panelist. I'm going to introduce them briefly soon, but I would like to thank all of you first for joining us this morning. New York City is quite chilly at the moment, but it is very shining. We are lucky that the weather is nice, and hopefully we are also shining in our heart and minds, all of us. Once again, thank you and welcome, and may God the Almighty bless all of us. I'm very much privileged and honored to be joined by three great friends of mine. Number one is Reverend Bruce Grodner, who is the National Executive Director for the American Clergy Leadership Conference here in America. And it is an inter-religious organization very much actively involved in building bridges of understanding, harmony and peace between people, not only here in America, but around the world. We have been friends for quite a long time, alhamdulillah, thank God for that. And thank you, Mr. Grodner, for joining me this morning. My second friend this morning, who is also joining me, is Guruji, Dr. Dilip Kumar Thankapan, who is originally from India. He has a lot of faces on interfaith organizations. He is certainly the founder of World Yoga Community and its representative at the United Nations. So we have been meeting quite a lot at the United Nations forums on the same panels. And so I'm so honored to be joined by him. We have been friends for quite a long time. And also this morning, I'm very honored to be joined by Mr. Kirpal Singh, who is a Sikhism leader here in the United States. And we just happen to know one another briefly just before yesterday through Facebook. And I'm so happy that he is able to join us this morning to share his thought on peace. Mr. Kirpal, you are still basically muted, so please unmute yourself. And so the topic for our discussion this morning is about peace in general. You know, whatever you wanted to connect to that word peace, I just make a formal theme, and that is new normal and the sustainable peace, or advancing sustainable peace in the new normal era. It's because we are living now in a new normal era because of the COVID-19. And so what we have to do in order to continue our peace, to sustain our peace, to make our peace sustainable. So let me just give a brief opening remarks, and then I'm going to give to each panelist for 10-15 minutes to present your thoughts, your ideas about peace. I just wanted to say in the beginning that when we come to the world of religions, there are two realities that need to be defined separately and clearly. Number one, the faith itself. The faith itself. And the faith is an ideal system, belief system, which is in nature godly and divine, often seen to be the truth. Faith requires full acceptance. In other words, that I cannot say I am half-heartedly believing in Islam. I have to accept it fully, because that's what faith is all about. So God is absolute. Spirituality is absolute in nature. That's what faith is all about. But on the other side, we are dealing with humans. We are dealing with people. We are dealing with followers of the faith. And when we talk about mankind or human beings, we are talking about paradoxical beings. In one hand, we see that mankind are pure in nature, or in the language of Islam itself, is called fitrah. that everybody is born in the state of purity. I think in the language of my Jewish and Christian friends, it is that everyone is created on God's image. And that is the representation of the purity of humanity itself, that we have inherently an inner purity. Everyone has that in his or her heart. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that mankind are surrounded by weaknesses. And one of those forms of weaknesses that we have that is uncontrollable desires that we have sometimes in the world. We are weak in controlling our desire. And that's what's happening. And because of that failure of humanity on their behalf, we see sometimes that religion is becoming victims or victimized because of a misrepresentation of the followers. And so I think we have to be fair and just in judging every faith tradition. That faith tradition is so beautiful. It is about spirituality. It is about God. But at the same time, the people who follow faith traditions are human beings who have limitations and weaknesses. In fact, religions have been given in order for us to maintain our purity as human beings. That is just an opening remarks from me, and I'm going to talk a little bit more after our other panelists presenting their ideas on peace. And so let me begin, I think, with our great friend, Guruji. I would like to begin with you this morning, and namaste to you, peace to you from New York City, both of us here in New York City, but namaste to all Hindus around the world as well, as you are part of them. So I would like to begin with you. Please do share with us about your thought on peace itself.
Thank you, Imam, for organizing this wonderful meeting, especially the starting day of the International Day of Peace. It is a great pleasure and honor to be part of Nusantara Foundation. I will congratulate and Reverend Gardner and Kripal Singh. Both are my friends and all the friends, Muslim friends. Assalamu alaikum. Here we have to bring the International Day of Peace, importance of International Day of Peace. Each year, the International Day of Peace is observed around the world on 21st September. The UN General Assembly has declared this as a day devoted to strengthening the ideals of peace through observing 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire. This year, theme is Shaping Peace Together. In 2001, the opening day of the General Assembly was scheduled for 11 September, and Secretary General Kofi Annan drafted a message recognizing the observance of International Peace Day on 21st September. This year, the day was changed from the third Tuesday to specifically the 21st day of September to take effect in 2002. A new resolution was passed by the General Assembly, sponsored by the United Kingdom and Costa Rica, to give the International Day of Peace a fixed calendar date, 21st September, and declare it also as a day of global ceasefire and nonviolence. In 2005, United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan called for the worldwide observance of a 22-hour ceasefire and day of nonviolence to mark the day. In 2007, UN Secretary General called for a worldwide moment of silence. And peace, justice, and strong institution is part of the Sustainable Development Goals number 16 at the United Nations. To promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. So these are the institutional level. As a Secretary of the Religious NGOs at the United Nations, I humbly request everybody to practice peaceful activities and promote and live in peace. As a yogi, I believe peace begins with me. Now we have a big movement, peace starts with me. We learned from Mahatma Gandhi, he taught us in India, peace begins with us. In yogic world, we always inquire about ourselves. What's the purpose of our life? Why we are here? What's life after death? This is the yogic world. So there's no time to think about violence. Maybe that's why I can understand peace faster than a lot of people. Yoga belongs to the universe, and we all belong to the universe. We are made of the universe. We are the universe. That's the way I believe. When you look at around the world, people fight each other because of philosophy or culture. We all say, oh, we belong to peace, but still very hard for us to get along. So whatever happened in the past, we had to forgive to others, learn something from the past and make a fruitful 21st century through love and care and respect. So when I love myself, I don't want to destroy anyone else. Because all of my brothers and sisters made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, ether, and the space. We all made of same thing. And you read the Quran, Islam is peace. I met so many friends from Islam tradition or Hindu tradition or Christian tradition or Jewish tradition or Buddhist tradition or any other tradition. So beautiful people. Few people may create some troubles and we accuse others as, oh, these people are bad. No, we don't have to think about that. So they may have a different psychological aspects when they grow up. So we are here to, all the religious leaders are here to educate them, support them, make aware of the value of the beautiful life. That's our purpose. I believe in that feeling. Even people insult me or stab me from my back, I take it as a lesson. I learn from that lesson and I'll try to talk with them very nicely. And this is the way we educate people. I think we are lucky people in America. We can meet people from around the world. I'll say I'm the luckiest one. Met so millions of people in my life. So I can learn myself and I can expand my normal conscious mind to the universal conscious mind. And even though you see the corona came, see we learned something from the corona. We may have education or so much money or beauty or all the facilities, but there's no guarantee I'll be alive tomorrow. Something to learn about it. So from the first breath to the last breath, we may live maybe 100 years or 110 years, maybe 70 years. There's no guarantee for life. So why we had to fight each other for why? The greediness has to be stopped. Yeah, the one thing I learned in my personal life, be humble and simple. I used to eat 3 meals a day, then cut down last 30 years to 2 meals a day. Last 6 months, only 1 meal a day. So other meal can go to someone else. They can have food. So I just shrink myself. Be very limited and very simple way I try to live. But day and night interact with the people. I think before I expire, I want to inspire people. The way world is going in a chaos, leaders are not serving us, which they're supposed to do it. All the leaders, even president or prime minister or the government officials or clergy leaders, they are the elected or the selected to serve the humanity, not for just be a leader. A leader is supposed to learn how to serve 100%. When I grew up, I saw all the elected officials used to serve people. That changed to everything became like a money-making machines. So we had to rethink. We had to restructure. We had to upgrade our outdated system. So we have responsible to do something together, a collective movement, more than this is mine and my family. We have to make the change through our actions. Here I like to stop it. I want to listen to my friends. That's the way I learn it. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all a happy International Day of Peace.
Thank you, Guruji. So beautiful presentations. You just reminded us about the international peace Day of Peace. That is tomorrow, basically, here in the United Nations, the opening of the General Assembly at the UN headquarters. And I think many leaders are coming, and hopefully they are learning how to be peaceful and how to create peace. And thank you for reminding us about that we all came from the same nature of creations, and that is from turab in Arabic, which is from clay and water, and we are breathing the same air, same, so we all share. The problem that we have, some people are so greedy, and the greed have created a lot of chaos in our life. And then thank you for reminding us to be simple and humble. The only thing that I cannot do, that I cannot cut my meal. I'm still eating 3 times daily, but we do fasting sometimes. And I think one of the most important points that you pointed out is the importance of being, inspiring, before expiring. This is a beautiful note that I'm taking. Thank you so very much. We're going to continue in our discussion later on. And now let me give the floor to Reverend Grodner, if you are in. And I think the video is working, Reverend. Can you see? Can you hear me? Reverend Grodner? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I can see you. But you are still mute, I think. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, how about that?
Yeah, great. Wonderful, finally.
All right, great. Thank you, Guruji. I was sitting here just being reminded, just a message I heard yesterday, which was really how we need to align ourselves. But I just wanted to preface all of that by saying,
we lost your voice.
We lost your voice.
Sorry?
Yeah, now.
You have been doing this kind of work, bringing people together, interfaith work, writing books together with other religions. I think this speaks volumes of who you are, and thank you. I was just reminded, today is like the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It's a Jewish holiday. I actually come from a Jewish background. I met Father and Mother Moon many moons ago when I was about 22 years old, because I was looking for something that was very inclusive. I had two streams of blood flowing through my body. One, my mother was quite religious and a very good person, and my father was a New York business person, very driven. And so I always knew, as I was looking for something in my life and pursuing, who am I and what could I do? What contribution can I make?
You lost the sound.
We lost your voice again. I don't know what happened.
Okay, yeah. So I had these two streams of let's say consciousness flowing through my being, and one was something big and something good. I never considered religion as my pursuit of finding truth or understanding, but later on in life, I realized that it is religion that is so important to create a framework of consciousness, of ethics, of values, of morals. And I think in the world that we're living in today, we're moving so fast, so rapidly. Young people are learning so much about science, and somehow religion and God, Allah, is somehow being slighted, being moved out of our tradition. And we're inheriting, it's almost like the Renaissance, you know, where everything is external and material. And I think religion, in, I believe, Latin, religion means to rebind. And this whole life and all of religion, in my mind, is to help us to rebind back to our, you know, to our Creator, and ultimately to become our true self. You know, in terms of the new norm, I don't know about you, Imam Shamsi Ali, but I'm on Zoom. You know, we're meeting more people on Zoom and Facebook, you know, these platforms than I think we've ever really done before. I just spoke to a friend yesterday, and she said, you know, before I go visit different churches, but now I can visit 10 or 20 churches on a Sunday by just going to their platform and listening to them. If I want to listen, I stay 5 minutes or an hour, you know, whatever I want to do. I can't just leave a service, you know. So this new norm is quite interesting, but on the other side of it, Father Moon once said, he said, when we can feel the suffering of humanity, the kingdom has already come. I believe that as we align ourselves with the challenges that people are facing,
You lost the sound.
You lost your sound, Reverend Gardner. Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm touching, but we are family. And I believe that, you know, one family, in fact, our new name of our evolving mission and movement that I'm part of is now called the Heavenly Parent Holy Community. We are all to be parents to one another, and there's no greater love than a parent for their children. And if we can assume the role of sometimes parents, sometimes children, sometimes uncles, sometimes aunts, whatever, we can always see each other as family. And I think this is one of the key kind of frames that we need to begin to see each other as, you know, if I'm with somebody who's older, but maybe a little bit older or something. It could be my older sister, or older than that, maybe my uncle or my aunt. So under this Holy Parent, Heavenly Parent Holy Community, we have many organizations doing many things, but one of the key organizations that which is under this umbrella is the Universal Peace Federation. I can't really speak for them, but I'm part of it. They just finished a summit 2019 where they brought 6,000, not even just before, just as it was hitting the pandemic, there was a summit in Korea with 6,000 top leaders in the areas of economics, in the areas of politics, in the areas of religion, in the areas of media. And it was a very powerful, many people didn't come because the pandemic already began. We had to go, some of us went through China, and then others went directly to Korea, but many people, but 6,000 of these incredible people came together to talk about these things, about not the new norm, because it was the norm, but how can we, you know, from all these different perspectives, how can we bring ethics and values, which really is represented by our religions. And without our religions and without our faith communities, we cannot speak properly, you know, from the world of economics or the world of media. If there is no standard, if there's no ethics and values and morals that are in the epicenter of all of our daily activities, then we're missing something of great importance, and that is the spirituality of every single human being. Yes, we have a physical body, and yes, we need sustenance, and yes, we need the things, and we have physical desires, but all of those things must be controlled by, and all those appetites, and all those vehicles in which we can help and serve other people. All of it is based on our spirituality. And for instance, science and technology, we could do terrible, destructive things with our technology, or we could do great things. We could serve humanity. We can load up, gigantic carrier planes that can actually carry tanks for war, where we could fill up with food and supplies for a nation that was hit by a natural disaster or whatever. So, but it's all based on the human spirit, and whether we can, as Guruji, talked about, mastering oneself. If we can't master ourselves, then our greed and all those other things will be dominant in every human being. So religion is really the epicenter of creating the world of goodness, the world of harmony, the world that, no, you don't have to change, I must change. So religion talks about me changing. I must be the change in this world if I want to see a changed world. And, we're very, very, if you watch any, network on TV, it's usually somebody else is causing the problem. It's not me. But religion says, I am the problem. My out of alignment with my God, with my divine purpose, is the problem. If I was in alignment, then maybe my family would be in alignment. Then my community could be in alignment. Our society, our nation, and ultimately the world. So really it comes back to the individual, but the first kind of rung is the family of making that change that is affecting society, as we know. And as we see, the challenges of young people, as we see the disconnect between, our society and people who have been marginalized, there's a disconnect because the heart is not at the center of these relationships, and we're insensitive to the needs of our brothers and sisters. So therefore, there's rebellion, there's resentment, there's arrogance on those that might have, and they're okay and they lived a good life and they're privileged. And there's a sense of arrogance and a sense of pride that's not centered, on what the perception of others, the reality of others might be. And then on the other side there's a resentment when you're lacking and you compare yourself with other people. So, those two, it's like oil and water, pride and resentment. Somebody has to work on resolving this problem, whether it be on an individual, whether it be on a community level, a society, nation. Nations have the same problems. So all of us, I believe, have to return back to religion, and the new norm maybe will be an internal perspective on everything, that there's a new perspective that we could really begin to understand the feelings, the situation, the circumstance that my brothers and sisters are in, whether it be across the globe or across the train tracks. And as we, share those things, and we understand that there needs to be a mutual prosperity, and there needs to be shared values, and, there needs to be these things. We need to not only just understand them intellectually, but how do we apply them? How do we live for the sake of others? How do we deny ourselves? Like Guruji mentioned, sometimes The most difficult thing is denying myself. If I cannot deny myself, then I cannot easily live for the sake of others. Because living for the sake of others means that I'm going to sacrifice something of myself. But what's going to replace that sacrifice is incredible benefit, incredible goodness, incredible happiness and joy. And that cannot be replaced by, or it cannot be replaced by anything. And certainly anything would be to offer anything for that result, because everyone wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And we just don't know the model for happiness. But happiness truly does come from living for the sake of others and recognizing that we are family, one family under God. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Grudner. So beautiful presentations, great points that need to be remembered and applied into our life. I just wanted to emphasize on, I think one of the most important that God for quite a long time had been seemingly marginalized in many humans' life. And that had been one of the many roots of the problems in life. In fact, there's fundamental problems, particularly here, we know in the Western society where God is denied, then you see what is happening. People are so advanced in their material life, but then they lose their life. They don't have direction in life. And so it's very important that we had to take back God into our life and to take back spirituality into our life. And that will give us direction in life, as Guruji mentioned, where we came from, why we are here, where we're going. You know, all these are in need of that direction, and direction is coming from God. But also we need to actualize that into our social and collective life as human beings. And for that to happen, we need to have self-sacrifice. And that's why it's very important to not to deny our own self, but to understand that we are part of humanity. We are part of this one family under one God. And I think that's what we had to have in our life. Thank you so much. Now we are going to our third panelist, Mr. Kipral Singh, who is a Sikhism leader here in the United States. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor. Please, sir.
Hello, greetings.
Greetings.
To you all. Assalamu alaikum,
Salam.
namaste, ram ram, or whatever background you may have. My name is Dr. Kirpal Singh. I'm president of the Sikh Foundation in Daytona Beach, Florida. I practice Sikhism. To tell you about Sikhism a little bit, I want to talk to you about the founder. The founder of Sikhism is Guru Nanak. Nanak's timeline, if you look at it, he was born over 500 years ago, around the time when Columbus discovered America. Protestant movement came into existence with Martin Luther and other things. You know, India, Vasco da Gama discovered India. So that's the timeline in which Guru Nanak was born. And during his time, the two dominant communities in India were the Islamic community and the Hindu community. And there were a lot of misunderstanding among them. So Guru Nanak's message was, his message was of oneness, what he called Ik Onkar. That means, Ik Onkar means like we have a sun and sunshine. You know, sun is Ik and Onkar is the sunshine. So they one. And it's the same thing what we call Khalik Khalq, Khalq mein Khalik. Or we say Balhari Kudrat Vasya Tirant na Jai Lakhya, which means same thing. So God is in creation and the creation is in God and beyond. So there is no limit. No one knows how God looks, how it is and all. The only thing we know is we are created in his image, and the way to be grateful to him is to love what he has created. That creation, humanity, and animals, kingdom, plants, whatever you have, birds. So to love God is to love his creation and to honor the diversity which he has created by his command, which we call hukam. So Nanak was followed by 9 successors who also emphasized the same teachings. And they established the institutions of bringing people together, starting locally, create what we call langar. Langar means the place where everyone is welcome to eat and contribute and to work together for each other's welfare. And they created srovars, which were the bathing places. So no matter who they were, what religion they were, what caste they were, what part of the ethnic groups were, they were all welcome to use that facility to maintain cleanliness so that we have individual and good public health. And like that, his emphasis was living ethically. You know, that there's abundance created by our Creator. There's no lack of things. We don't need to. He takes care of us at all times and every moment. Even the creatures which are between the mountains or other places under the sea. So that God takes care of all of us. So we don't need to hoard things and deprive others for our personal benefits to a degree where it causes them deprivation, discomfort. So he emphasized in our remembrance of our Creator, in gratitude, always we must seek sarvatra phala, which is everyone's welfare, each and everyone's. So we can practice any religion, any kind of way of life, but it should be ethical. And we should not step on other people's freedom, or do not misrepresent or bribe or terrorize people. Because as children of the God, we all have a common parent who's our father and mother. So this kind of teaching, Guru Nanak, kind of bridged the East and West together. So as during his lifetime, he was known as Nanak Shah Fakir, Hindu the Guru, Musliman the Peer. That he was the teacher for the Hindus and Peer for the Muslims. That's a kind of legendary situation. When time came to pass away, then people asked him, we want to take care of your body our way. And the legend goes in a place called Kartarpur, which I maybe Imam may have visited. The birthplace of Guru Nanak is called Nankana Sahib, close to Lahore. And this Kartarpur, where he passed away, his remains, the half were taken by the Muslims and they buried them. The half by the Hindus and Sikhs, and they cremated them and built a temple. A little later, a flood came in the river Ravi, where the Kartarpur is. It washed away all those things. To me, that means that Guru Nanak belonged not halfway, but fully to each one of them. No matter whether they were Muslims or they were Hindus or any other. So the message of peace comes from accepting the divine and divine produced diversity and trying to live ethical living. When we talk about it, not only talk about it, but actually practice locally wherever we live by cooperating and collaborating with others, then we can create a global change for peace. We should think globally, but action must start locally. So peace begins wherever you are. And it comes from educating our own minds, recognizing who we are. The spark of that Lord is in all of us. And when we try to manage our mind better, according to these teachings of our religions, whatever you may have, I think then we are welled up with courage and service to others, selfless service above any kind of good act. Even when one time Guru Nanak, he traveled widely, one time he went toward Baghdad, Middle East, he used to write his composition in a book.
Ngapain sih, Dek? Sampai gini-gini.
The
Di
Pir
sana
of
aja
Baghdad
tuh
asked
sama
him,
ayah tuh, biar itu tiduran di sofa juga.
Yeah, please unmute yourself, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, unmute yourself. I think it's muted.
so Pir of Baghdad asked him, who's better, Hindu or Muslim? He said, Pirji, without ethical living, both suffer. So that his emphasis was, actions speak louder than the words. And the humility is the key to serve each other. As we bring these ideas together in our everyday living, we become instruments to bring about the peace and peaceful coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, from Florida, away from New York City, for such wonderful presentations. I think the emphasis on the presentation is about unity, harmony, peace, togetherness, on the basis of one God, one family. I think the whole presentation that we have heard is about one God, one spirituality, one humanity, one family, you know, all these about unity. But at the same time, certainly we don't have the right to deny the existence of differences that we have, the existence of diversity. And therefore unity is so important in the midst of our diversity, because we have particularities in each one of us, but at the same time we have a common ground. I think the challenge of the Quran is clear. All mankind, in particular, and this Reverend Grodner now, are people of the book, and I believe that every single religion who believe in the book, they are people of the book, or people of the book come to the same common ground. And that common ground is that we worship none but God, not our desire, not our affiliations, not even what we call that our official religions, but our God, the one who gave us that religions. And that's the essence of faith, basically. And so thank you very much. And yes, I have seen, I was in Lahore several times. And I think it's very important that you emphasize on the importance of living ethical life. And that's what we call akhlaq in Arabic language. Akhlaq is the cheese of the religion, basically, is the essence of every faith tradition. How to live our life ethically, both to God and humanity. Hablum min Allah, our connection with God and our connection with other people around us. So again, thank you so very much for this wonderful presentation. I just wanted to say briefly, I am joining your opinions, your ideas, and I agree with all of them. But at the same time, I think we have also to see the realities in the ground. Why then some people fail to represent their faith, including us Muslims, and we have to acknowledge that. Certainly, number one is because of the lacking of spirituality. We are so much formal in our religiosity. So you see sometimes that people are, in terms of physical identities, are so much religious, but they are lacking the essence of religion, the essence of, because we are lacking spirituality. So it is very important that we build. I think in the language of Guruji, this is from the inner side of us. This is from us inside. And that's what the focus of Islam, that inna fil jasadi mudghah, there is a flesh in our body. If that flesh is sound, healthy, then everything else will be healthy. And that is our heart. That is the inner part of ours. And that's what spirituality is all about. We are lacking spirituality. We are doing everything about the religion, except sometimes that we are not dealing with our heart. And that's where we are lacking honesty, we are lacking humbleness, we are lacking, ethics, as the Mr. Singh mentioned, ethical life. And certainly number two is the ignorance of the religion in the name of the religion itself. In other words, many religious, what we consider religious practices, in fact, not only that is against the religion, but destroying the religion. And we can see that many people who claim to be so religious, but basically destroying the very religion that we believe in. And that's one of the reasons is because of the literal understanding of the faith itself. So in any faith tradition, we need contextual understanding. Islam, for example, had been revealed in the last 15 centuries, and throughout the age, we need to contextualize the teaching. And I think it's very, very important. Number three, the importance of also acknowledging the existence of realities in the ground, and that is including unjust treatment of some in our society. Sometimes a person is so nice, so good, but when they are, insulted, degraded, pushed down, then they have his ego to defend themselves. And that's what it is. And so I think we have to fight against unjust treatment of some in our society. And I think here in America, we see that in our own backyard. The rise of extreme political, ideologies, including white supremacy ideologies in our community have, divided the people tremendously, and looks like we are hating each other. And the black are not hating the white are not hating the black, and because of that unjust treatment of some. So I think we need leadership here to bridge between groups of people, and this is happening around the world. Peace cannot be forced when sometimes justice is not observed. So it is very important that peace is followed by justice, or justice will follow the peace itself. It's very important. I still remember Kofi Annan in 2000 when he gave his Millennium Report to the United Nations, and he said, in order for us to obtain peace in the world, we have to be secure from worries and from fears and from hunger. Okay, so development is very important. Prosperity is very important. If economic injustices occur everywhere else, it's so difficult sometimes for the people to force themselves to be silent, to be silent. So we cannot force them to be silent. We need to give them their share. So again, justice is very important as a requirement for peace to establish. The next one is, sometimes I see a systemic perception which is being built against certain people, and media here is playing an important role. There is an unjust treatment in the media where, for example, in the Muslim world, some non-Muslims are being treated unfairly. I was in Saudi Arabia for quite a long time, and I know that a certain group of people around the world are being mistreated very, very openly. Similarly, also, for example, Islam is being mistreated by the media very unfairly, and it is very systematic in a way that they present the faith so badly. Looks like everyone is ISIS, everyone is terrorists, and that's what it is. And so I think we have to be just and fair enough in presenting others, both in ourselves and others around us. And that's why, for me, in my interfaith work with the Jewish community in the United States, we have that motto called, your fight is mine and my fight is yours. It is about all of us. Possibly, the last one, of course, I mentioned this briefly, is about the rise of extreme political ideologies that had caused many tremendous challenges around the world. If you may remember what happened to the Muslim in New Zealand and the Jewish people here in America, how many people are massacred in Philadelphia and others because of that extreme political ideologies. So peace is a part of our nature, basically, but unfortunately, sometimes also we have to deal with the realities around us. And that's why it is very important that love, compassion is all the essence of faith. There is no faith without essence, without faith, without love. There is no faith without compassion, without mercy. And that's what Islam is always, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. That's the most fundamental root and a foundation of our faith. But unfortunately, sometimes we are distracted by the realities in the ground. So I think that is just an addition for me. I'm just talking about the realities. It's very important that all of us are fighting against it so that we can maximize the genuine peace and compassion that we have within ourselves. And of course, we have to begin that from our own selves. That's from me, and I think we are now going to some questions from our audience, and I want you to raise your hand, or maybe you can, if you want to talk directly, you can raise your hand and unmute yourself. Okay, I have the former, and it is away from Indonesia. I have the former ambassador of Indonesia to Qatar, who is Sheikh Abdul Wahid Maktub, and he is also former Consul General of Indonesia in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So please, Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Very much. I hope you can hear my voice clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I enjoyed the presentation by all honorable speaker. Yeah? Hopefully, this dialogues and discussion will inspire all of us. Yeah? I want to emphasize about the importance of justice, as mentioned by the moderators, and also about the importance of renew the interpretations of the religious thoughts, because sometimes religious thoughts become obsolete, and sometimes become a prison and fences, not a tunnel and bridging among the humanity. So that's why we must intensify the dialogue in order we make all the humanity become aware, self-awareness, but also at the same time, personal awareness must be followed by social awareness. So we must also understand about the complexity of human dimension, not only in the structural, cultural, and intellectual, but also spiritual, which is more global and which more universal, because sometimes we interpret religious thought and religious teaching very narrow-mindedly and very chauvinistic, with sometimes neglecting the essence and the substance of the religion itself, namely the humanity, oneness of humanity. So that's why this must be renewed all the times in order it become relevant. Yeah. So sometimes between wasila, instrument, and the goals, yeah, and the purpose of life is to understand who is God. And we cannot understand God without loving each creatures. And the most honorable creatures is human itself. So sometimes it's very paradox. Yeah. If we claim we are religious, but at the same time we are doing something against the religious values itself. So that's why the elites of the religious elite must be responsible to address the misinterpretation which has spilled over to the misimplementation. So it is very serious now. Yeah. So many religion followers have problem with su'il fahm, yeah, namely misinterpretation, lack of interpretation, which has spilled over to lack or misimplementation, and it is very dangerous. If we look at to the substance of the human, is regardless differences in background and also tradition and nation, but the main purpose, the common ground is to know each other, to respect each other, to recognize each other, and to cooperate. So and then lita'arufu and lita'awanu. So how to understand each other and also how to collaborate with each other. That is the essence. Yeah. But sometimes we neglect that. We ignore that. So that's why by doing this conversation and dialogue, hopefully in the future, by using technology with the massive impact, with massive influence, hopefully there will be a quick understanding and quick awareness, self-awareness and social awareness. And we will uphold from ourselves, start from ourselves, and then it's expand to more wider our family, and then our society, our nation, and hopefully to all the world and as humanity. So thank you very much for what your inspiring presentation, and hopefully what this renewal of thoughts will give good impacts and good influence to all of humanity, including all of us. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Moderator.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much. I think you emphasized on 2 points. One is about the justice itself as the prerequisite of peace. In some slogans, people say no peace, no justice, no peace. But that's a prerequisite of the peace, as people say it. And I think you talk lengthy about the importance of what we call in Islam tajdid, renewal of religious interpretations or religious understanding. Certainly for some peoples of religion, holy book is not to be changed, but the interpretation, the understanding of the holy books need to be renewed from time to time based on circumstances around us. If any of you wanted to respond to that, please do so.
May I add over here?
Yes.
That the reason in Sikh people, you see the turban and beard and the bracelet, these symbol, articles of faith, we keep long hair under the turban. For us, that's a divine, following the divine will. And we clean them with the comb, and that is for us to comb our, for cleanliness, like combing the hair, we need to comb our minds also, so that we develop more spiritual thinking and spiritual way of living and all. And then bracelet to remind us that we are linked with God no matter where we are, whether we're under the trees or walking or wherever. We can invoke his omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience. And then we also wear pair of shorts, which is to remind about faithfulness, the family, society where you live, and the countries where you live, and the world at large, set up all together, we are one family. We also have a sword, which is to represent the vigilance, social justice, that unless we speak for the rights of others, our own rights cannot be preserved. So to be able to live as free people, we need to remember, we together help each other by protecting each other's rights and existence through peaceful coexistence. Thank you.
Wonderful. All religions are rich of symbolic things. It is our Sikh brothers and sisters that have this long hair. But unfortunately for me, I cannot, keep my beard because I don't have beard. Reverend Gardner, do you want to say something? Yes, you are still muted. I think, yeah.
I was going to say, Imam Ali, you would make a bad Sikh. You cannot grow a beard, and maybe I can't grow long hair, so turban would work. But yeah, I think it's time for symbols and to become substance. Like these. My father used to say, I'm training, Dad, I'm training. So he said, well, when is the training over? So at some point we have to. Yeah, I mean, it's our. For me, all religions are this, as I mentioned before, to rebind to God. Once we're rebound to God, religion is a byproduct of our separation from God. It's not, I think it wasn't the original intention of God to create all these religions. I think his intention was to create the family. And that family should have been aligned with God, and then of course our society, nations, whatever would have come about. So it's interesting because I think many of us believe I'm this, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Jew, I'm a unificationist, and that's what I'm going to be all my life. But I remember Father Moon said his job is to remove our church, get rid of it. Because ultimately speaking, we need to become family and then not be behind our symbols, but actually we can be true human beings. I mean, I think that's all of our destiny. And I think all of our religions are absolutely necessary, because our broken leg needs to be in a cast. We need crutches. And then eventually when our leg repairs itself, then we take the cast off and we remove the crutches. I don't mean religion's a crutch. I mean, it's really helping us to align ourselves with God. So ultimately, we're family. And that's the first and only institution that God created. So the more we can do these things and the more we can exercise these opportunities to really see each other's family, I think we're going to be, we won't see our beards or our turbans or our crosses or whatever. We're going to actually see the founders of our faiths. And we're going to be, like Jesus said, I'm the first of many, but many Christians believe that Jesus is completely separate from our reality. We're like, it's very much a thought that will never be completed, will never be perfected, will never be one with God on this earth, and that's not what the scripture, at least the scripture that I study says. Jesus said, you must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. And I'm the first of many. So in other words, I believe that as we're living out these tenets of our faith and practicing them, then all of a sudden we're family. Imam, I don't see you as the imam. Your members might see you as the imam, but I see you as my brother. And I don't see difference. I don't even look for difference. I'm not, of course, if we sit down, we can certainly, and we start talking theology, we're going to find some differences. But on the foundation of our brotherhood, that has to become primary and subjective. And the other thing I'd like to say is the war now is really God or no God. And again, I thought communism was over. I thought the Berlin Wall fell and communism was finished. But the ideology of no God is still, might not be in the same form and run by the same people, but the challenge is huge. And I think we have to come together. We have to band together to keep God in our countries, because God won't stay where he's not wanted. God is quite humble in that sense. He won't remain. And when he doesn't remain, then all hell will break loose. And so if we don't want hell to break loose for our country, and we're all in this country, then we have no choice. I mean, in a sense, we have no choice but to band together. That's the lower rung. The higher rung is, I want to band together. I love you. But the first rung is, we really need to exercise our religious freedom in this country, or we'll lose it, and honor it because we have it. But it is the desire for many to lose our religious freedom and to not value that. We fought for that. It's in our Constitution. It's what made this, what made this nation great was its religious freedom. Wherever that is being not expressed or experienced, as you mentioned, Imam, you have to band together with other people, because, we should all band together, because this, if we really are true to our belief and what made this country great, we have to make it happen. We have to protect it. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, before giving to others to ask questions, Guruji, if you have any words to add?
Yeah, I was just listening to all of you. I know three of you in my pace, but I never expect a wisdom message from the ambassador. That was very inspiring. I was thinking, if we have all the 193 nations ambassadors at the UN with a more spiritual way of dealing with the issues, we won't have any problems. You know, the religion came to the world according to each era and different situations. But spirituality already exists in the universe, so we should develop divinity within ourselves more than just set with the certain rules or points. So each master wants us to learn and practice in deeper way rather than sit on one message. That is more universal method. So we should come together, make a change as a universal philosophy, which is applicable for everyone in the world. That's the thing we have to focus on. All other wonderful, like I wear sometimes red color or orange color to the UN, sometimes suit. Sometimes I wear only t-shirts and shorts. Because I don't want people to say, this is the guy, you know, make it more spiritual, you know, that is the thing we want. So these meetings can bring more dialogues and people can light themselves why we are making this event. That's a point. Something going wrong in the world. So we had to go to the root cause and find out. So like when we have a disease in our body, we have chronic treatment and the acute treatment. If it is like a fever, it is acute disease. If it's a heart problem or liver problem, there's a chronic disease. So we treat for the acute and the chronic. So we have to find out what's the root cause and try to fix it as early as possible. Don't leave it for later. Then if you keep it for later, never able to fix it. So still we have time to change the world. We all should work hard, 100% or 200%, and make the changes through our friendship and harmony.
Wonderful. Thank you, Guruji. Now let me go to Pak Umar in Maryland. Please do so.
Okay, terima kasih. Thank you, Imam Shamsi. My name is Omar Baduges. I work here in Washington, D.C. as a consultant to the federal government, but I have nothing to do with my work here. I would like to make a point that, you know, our world consisted of hardware and software, which is, in the term of religion, it's like a spiritual and then the material things. Now, we know that we should know each other, you know, but what is the common ground, as well as to understand the differences. Now, for example, in religion, okay, we are, well, first let me go that all the fighting or the, you know, the one that destroy peace usually come on the hardware side. We may be fighting for land, fighting for wealth or position or something that's all hardware side. Now, the religion guide us on how to deal. For example, you know, and this hardware or all the desire as well as the ability to refrain from attacking others is derived by our own soul. That is why we need all this what religion has taught us. You know, for example, Guruji has mentioned about, you know, he only eat once a day. That is a training for our soul. And some other religion also teach about, I think all of them teach about fasting, charity, you know, doing good to others, and so on. That is like to be able for our desire to manage all these, you know, material being, the desire. So, but sometimes we confuse between the cart and the horse. For example, you know, at the time of slavery, it is profitable to trade and enslave human being. So then some people make a justification using religion and say that of the three of Noah's son, one was condemned and become, you know, black. And then some other religion say that this land is promised by God, and therefore they come and basically, you know, try to annihilate the native population there, so that, you know, using religion for their justification. In others, there are things like that. In America, we see that, you know, somebody bring a Bible in the front of the church without knowing what is inside the Bible, but all he needs is to be portrayed or taking pictures that he is with Bible in the front of the church and claim that he's a second coming. Things like this, they're all politicizing the religion, which is very unfortunate. It is, you know, many people does not recognize, does not make a distinction between utilizing religion for gaining materialistic and making unpeaceful world, and then following the teaching of religion, which makes, you know, brotherhood and peace. And of course, you know, the world of religion, basically there are two, the Middle Eastern and the Asian. And the Middle Eastern, of course, you know, in the next world is where God will reward us, but it is the same soul. In the Asian religion, it is to the next life, you know, which is you become a better human being and so on until nirvana. Then, like the Middle Eastern religion goes either to paradise or Jannah. You know, I think that is, I think what I mean here, that we do not confuse between hardware and software,
Thank
and
you.
we understand each other. That's my, you know, my understanding. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you. I think these are great points. I think we just go directly to the next one so that we can have some more people to contribute. We have, who is this? Nusa Rangkuti. Please do unmute yourself. Briefly, brief.
Yes. Well, I can really agree with Mr. Umar. I mean, everything is politicized, and I think we should step up to our governments, our religious leaders, yeah, to stop all this politicization of religion. Basically, all religion teaches good deeds, yeah, and good conduct, and if we can eradicate all this politicization of religion, we might bring ourselves to a better world, a better civilization, a more even distribution of prosperity, etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nusa Rangkuti. All right, so I think we have some more, but let's go back to our panels. You know, I think Umar just from Virginia emphasized on the importance of once again, you know, having the religion as religions, be away from being politicized for certain purposes, because that's what we see around the world. Not only in the third world, even in the most superpower world, we see how religion being politicized, and I think he mentioned some examples. And really that is what the problem is. I'm not talking here about the connection between religion and politics, because that is an intellectual discourse. You can discuss about that at the universities, but I'm talking about politicizing the religion, you know, for certain purposes. It is for power, for fame, for materials. You know, religion has been victimized in many ways, and I think it's a very, very important point. I think one of the points also that he underlined that followers of all religion have certain bloods on their hands, and no one should be considered innocent or pure on this. And that's our responsibility to clean this. You know, as Muslims, we acknowledge that there are some Muslims who are, you know, bad in our midst. In the Christian, there are some bad Christians in the midst, and so on and so forth. So every single religious community has certain blood on hands that we need to clean. But I think the point that he underlined in the beginning is about oneness of God, oneness of humanity, with the existence of approaches. The approach to God is different, and then, each one have taken the way to God responsibly. I am taking my way to God through Islam, and that is based on my responsibility. I'm responsible for my faith, and so each individual around who follow their own way to God also responsible. And so I think that's need deserve respect from each one of us. So please, panels, if you have anything to add and say on this, please do.
I believe this. I believe that the peaceful coexistence cannot come about without mutual understanding and without the interfaith dialogue. The more we have in a respectful manner, no matter how many differences we have, we are always more common grounds. Common grounds give us energy to collaborate and help each other to advance forward to improve the human conditions. While our uniqueness, we should celebrate as part of the diversity. That's again, Creator with all its power, if you only wanted one kind of things, there was nothing to stop the Creator. So we should go follow His hukam, His commandments, and celebrate diversity instead of reject it or decline it or condemn it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes? Any other one to say?
Bruce?
Yes. All right. So I just wanted to refer to a verse in the Quran. It is in chapter number 49, verse number 13. God says, and I think each our interfaith partners are very familiar with this because we mention this a lot in our interfaith forums. All mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and we made you into nations, plural, and tribes, plural. But the best amongst you in the sight of God are the most righteous of you. Now, we see here how God presents unity at the same time diversity. So in one hand, there is a unifying God, one God, and unifying human family. We are all one family. But God also tells us that we created into different nations and tribes. And that is diversity, the existence of skin colors, the existence of cultures, the existence of languages, the existence of even faith traditions that we follow. All these are diversities that deserve respect and understanding. So Mr. Singh mentioned the importance of understanding. That's what the Quran says, لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you get to know one another. Building knowledge of one another is not only knowing what is your faith, what is your tradition, what is your religion, but it is about deeper than that. It is about understanding the culture, the custom, the lifestyle, the tendencies. It's about, really open ourselves to be inclusive to one another around us. And that's the meaning of ta'aruf in the language of the Quran. Ta'aruf also means that we need to accept the existence of others around us. This world is not only you. It's not only me. It's all about us. And so we have to embrace one another. That's the meaning of ta'aruf. It also means here sharing and caring. It is about sharing what you have in terms of righteousness with others and care of others' righteousness, appreciate in that sense. And that's what interfaith is all about. Interfaith is not exchanging the faith. I don't want Mr. Grones to become a Muslim. I don't want Mr. Sin to become a Muslim, but I want you to understand me and be good Christians, be a good Jew, be a good Sikh, be a good, Hindu. And when we can connect this goodness of each faith tradition, I'm sure that we can build a very good world. And that's what the meaning of ta'aruf is all about. So I think there's a lot of things to say, but I'm here as a moderator, so I'm not a speaker, but hopefully one day we can have more. So let's go. If anybody else wanted to ask question, please do raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions. I have to acknowledge the presence of some ambassadors here. I'm former ambassador, at least former ambassador Yusuf Khan, Indonesian ambassador to Mexico, and some other ambassadors. We have presidents of universities joining us here. Thank you very much for joining us. Anyone who wanted to say thank? Otherwise,
Imam, if I may say something.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of a plug for, every month we are having a major virtual program, which would normally have taken place, you know, together. But we're part of this month. Parliamentarians are coming together, you know, with the vision of collaborating and getting these guys together of these different. Next month will be the Interdenominational for Peace and Development, which is an organization that was under this larger umbrella. And it's last month, there was about between 5 and 10 million people that watched that. They're expecting even up to 100 million people with presidents of nations on there. And I think, so anyway, I put it in the, it's called the Rally of Hope. I put it in the chat box, but, you know, it's amazing what we could do with technology now. And it's amazing that with the right thinking, the right ideas, the right thought, the right, you know, diversity, people coming together and in this kind of fellowship, whether it be media or whether it be parliamentarians or, you know, whatever it is, scientists coming together, people need to come together to collaborate to solve the world's problems. The UN is great, you know, for all those, you know, representatives. Unfortunately, you know, maybe spirituality is coming into the UN, but it has dealt with very physical and material things for, you know, since the founding. I mean, that was kind of its focus, which was needed, and that's where the world is and was. But where the world is headed is more spirituality, and I think that's what we have to bring to the table. And you know, we, as you know, Imam, we are trying to create not only this, like for the Security Council, but also helping to establish in the UN a religious council with the top, you know, the Grand Muftis and the greatest, you know, religious leaders of our world should have a place at the UN and a place at the table, because that conversation and that unity is going to be more important going forward than any other unity, I think, and accomplishment. So I just wanted to share that. But please, if we can join the Rally of Hope, it's it's the 26th. It's on a Saturday at 6 p.m. So it's in there. You just register, and it'll be a very, very powerful coming together of world leaders coming together. And it's not everybody, not every world leader, not every politician, not every economist, but God, I believe, is choosing a remnant of people to move this conversation to another level. And Imam Shamsi, I know that you're definitely one of those. And if I had any say, I would put you on that council at the UN personally. I'm a little guy, so.
Thank you very much.
Imam.
Yes, please.
You know, I know this is very hard to work on spirituality at the UN, but it's changing. You know, last 20 years we see the changes, and we built up very well last 10 years. I'm sure people are going to implement more. And you think about UN is not only meant for a few ambassadors. UN meant for us. We each of us paying $4 to $5 every single person is paying to the UN. So they have responsible to take care of us. So we have to push them, you know, in a nice way to make a dialogue and rearrange the structure. I hope in the future they will change the entire system. And I remember when I was little, I asked my mom, Mom, I want to sue God. This is the way I said. The mom said, what are you talking about? I said, look, so many problems around the world, so many religions and different cultures. The way she said, do you like light? I said, yes. Do you see any colors in the light? I said, yeah, 7 colors. So she said, not only 7 colors, the shade of 7 colors too. So just think about it. The light itself is the God. So religions are the colors. So accept, adapt, accommodate all the religions and understand that's the beauty of the life. The differences in a unity in diversity. So we had to recognize we cannot change what happened or what is in the world. Admit this is the reality. We are in a real stage with godliness, and she always mentioned about the love. And I learned from the masters, they taught us, begin the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, and end the day with love. That's the way to the God more than anything else. This is my message. Thank you.
Love is the essence of all faith, and that love is expressed in the terminology of Islam, rahmah, as mercy, because mercy, love that requires self-sacrifice. So you love and sacrifice for them. And I think we just need to implement that. Now I have Pataha from DC. Please do.
Okay. Thank you, Ustaz Samsi. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Basically, I am a teacher, so this is very important for us. Almost every day when I come to my class, I teach my student about ethic, at least like 2, 3, maximum 5 minutes. For example, I just want to tell about the beauty of the world. So I ask a very simple question. A student, why the garden is beautiful? The answer should be very different, right? And basically because of the flowers. Why? Because of the diverse, different colors. Just imagine, I tell the student, just imagine if God only create one color of flowers. All flower in a garden is red. The color of flower is red. It will be so boring, right? Because of the different colors in the garden. So that's why the garden is look more beautiful, because of the color. Just come back to us. Mostly my student is international student. So we are here like the garden. Some of us white, some of us are black, some of us brown, yellow, whatever, red. So it means just make the world is more beautiful. Just imagine if God only created a human being with the same color. All human being is white. It will be so boring. It's like us. But student, just never forget, even we have the different colors, we have the same thing. So we have a red blood and white bone. So God will never see what color we are. God always see what is inside of our heart. This is the main point. To emphasize our student that love is a beautiful, life is good, something like that. This is only share, Ustaz Samsi. Just to remind our students from the very beginning of our young generation that we don't want to claim that we are better than the other race. Then we are better than the other race. Thank you, Ustaz Samsi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you, Dr. Taha, for insight. I think it's beautiful. In fact, the Quran mentions that diversity is God's given thing, and those who reject diversity is rejecting God's sign, reject God's greatness. And so it is a very an integral part of our faith to believe in the existence of diversity, and that each single part of that diversity deserves respect and honor from each one of us. We need to respect the black, we need to respect the white, the brown, we need to respect the Muslims, the Hindus, the Christians, the Jews. They all deserve respect because they are all given by God. That's what we believe. All right, so I think we are coming to the end of this because everyone has a limit of a time. I myself, I have something else to do, but I just wanted to thank all of you for being here, for joining me. Such an honor to see all of you, my friends, my partners for good and for peace, and hopefully we'll continue struggle. I know that the challenge is mounted, the challenge has become even, clear in front of our eyes, but that has become another milestone for us to jump and do more and better. Inshallah. Thank you, Reverend Grodner, for the information about the hope. We are going to join that. Guruji, thank you so very much. See you soon, inshallah. And Mr. Kirpal Singh, thank you so much for joining us from Florida. And for those of you who are joining me from Indonesia, from Bangladesh, from different parts of the world, here from the United States, I'd like to thank you so very, very much. May God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, continue to bless all of us, inshallah, and hopefully see you once again. Let me announce something. for those who were in Indonesia, because a lot of Indonesian people want me to talk about, Reverend Grotner said, they want me to talk about presidential election. It's just funny. So I have invited someone who is expert to talk about US presidential election in this coming Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock Jakarta time. So if you want to join me on that, please do join. And then next Sunday, we are going to have a discussion, a book discussion called The Humanity of Muhammad, written by a Catholic person. He is a Professor Craig Considine, and he is going to be my guest next Sunday to talk about his book, The Humanity of Muhammad. Peace be upon him. So this coming Sunday. But Tuesday evening, we are going to talk about politics in the United States, and we are bringing a politician to talk about that. I'm not in that field, so I don't want to talk about it. So again, thank you so very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again soon, inshallah. Take care of yourself. May Allah keep us and bless us all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
You can unmute.